Good morning, I'm Brian Lentz with a look at your local news. Once daytime highs are consistently about 5 to 7 degrees, it's time to protect the friendly neighborhood pollinator. In this week's Agriculture Report, Gerard Lampow finds out how bees get ready for winter.
Another sure sign that the seasons are changing is that local beekeepers will winterize their hives. Now, these hives have about 20,000 bees in them, and the hope is that this process will keep as many of them alive as possible.
The bees do make their own heat, so we'll just help them out by trapping the heat in there.
Local beekeeper Sean Stewart has just wrapped up his third season of honey production with some 1,000 pounds of honey. With the cold months coming, it's time to wrap the bees. Stewart leaves an entrance at the top of the hive and an opening at the bottom. This allows air to circulate in the hive, regulating the temperature.
You do that because bees do produce a lot of heat, and they'll produce condensation in the hive. And if you don't have an opening in the top for the airflow to get out, the condensation can freeze up.
Producers want to avoid an ice blockage in their hive, which could spread in winter and kill the bees. At minimum, without good airflow, you also run the risk of mold. Another practice is spraying the hive for mites, which can be quite devastating.
I use anesilic acid, and I close off the hive, and I insert this probe with this powder on it, and it heats up, and then it kind of smokes them.
Winter is a tough ask for these delicate pollinators. They don't defecate and dirty the hive. They will hold it in and wait for a warm day. It takes a lot to make honey and help area crops to grow. The hives are also lifted off the ground to protect against mice and skunks.
You will lose lots over the winter, and you'll have a cluster that survives throughout the winter and moves around throughout the hive, eating the stored honey. And sometimes, you'll have stronger hives that do a lot better throughout the winter, and that might be the size of a volleyball come spring.
Stewart also has an electric fence to keep predators out. He will supplement the bees' food stores around April just to keep them going until spring comes fully and the flowers begin to bud. Gerard Lampow, Newcap News.
And the Grand Slam of Curling has been an incredible opportunity for curling fans to come out and watch some of the best curlers in the world. But fans aren't the only ones benefiting from the tournament. Many businesses in the city are as well. Kira Lyons explains.
The Days Inn Hotel is playing host to the curling teams competing in the tournament and have seen quite an increase in business over the last week, with no signs of slowing down until after the tournament is over.
The Grand Slam of Curling event has been just wonderful for the hotel. We've have a lot of the teams staying here, as well as some fans as well, so it's definitely benefited our rooms as well as our food and beverage outlets.
Louis, the restaurant attached to the Days Inn, has also seen a spike in business, which has led to more than double the amount of staff needed to accommodate.
We're pretty fortunate because we have so many different departments here too, right? So we got the banquet, so we're a revolving door. We're a good teamwork here, so we all work together and do everything you can.
The Days Inn tries to play host to as many events as they can, and sporting events are nothing new to the staff.
Definitely a team-based hotel. We definitely try to get as many teams and events through the hotel as well. And we'd always like to see definitely more events like this to benefits the entire community as well.
After the economy took a hit, Violet says events like these are great for the city.
You can take it when you can, and we've been through rough times before, so that's what we do here. Good and bad, right?
Along with the extra business, both Violet and Kevin agree that the curlers and fans have been excellent guests and hope they can play host to more events in the future. Kira Lyons, Newcap News.
All the Halloween sugar can take a toll on your teeth. In this week's edition of Healthy Living, Darcy Ropjan takes a look at how to protect your oral health.
We got to treat our teeth with respect because we only get one set. And so we got to, as adults, and so we got to focus on keeping them for as long as we can.
That's the message that Dr. Jamal wants parents and children to keep in mind this year as they dive into their Halloween candy. In the months following Halloween, his office sees an influx of patients with cavities.
When we eat sugar, okay, the bacteria in our mouths, or to kids we call them sugar bugs, they eat or process that sugar and they help produce acids. And those acids actually break down our teeth, and that's what makes the holes in our teeth.
Dr. Jamal knows there's no way that children will completely avoid candy after Halloween. He's asking parents to be smart about how their children consume that candy.
We don't need to eat a ton all at once. We can have a little bit at a time and really spread it out instead of having all the sugar in our mouths all at once.
He also advises against constantly snacking on treats all day.
If you're gonna have sugar or if you're gonna eat chocolate, have it all at once, okay? Don't have it a chocolate bar every 20 minutes throughout the day, because that way you'll have sugar in your mouth throughout the day. If you're gonna have the sugar in your mouth, eat it all at once, brush your teeth, get it over with.
Sugar-free gum, chips, pretzels, and granola bars are tasty alternatives to sugar-laden candy. Wayside Dental also has a candy buyback program where for every pound of candy a child turns in, they're entered in a draw to win an iPad.
It's been huge throughout the last couple of years. Every year we've donated at least 600 pounds of candy to the Canadian military, help boost morale overseas.
Darcy Robshan, Newcap News.
Being nearly November, boating isn't an activity on people's minds. However, for one Lakeland College wrestlers team, it's the only thing on their collective minds. Lance Phillips with more.
It all starts here, the Vermilion Reservoir. Not a spot many would consider a boating hotspot, but for the Lakeland Rustlers rowing crew, it's home, and the perfect place to hone skills before the last regatta of the season.
It's been fantastic, and the reservoir is a great piece of water for us. Cross over to town and there's the reservoir, and people call it a lake, but that's being very generous. It's really a reservoir, you know, dammed up, and it gives us in the spring about 6 kilometers of water. In the fall, we get about 3 kilometers of water.
The team is on the road, a long one to Victoria, BC, taking part in the Western Canadian University Championships, one of the most challenging events they'll face this season, given the team's small stature.
This is a real challenge. The kids have to be really on their game. They have to be extremely technical because they're not going to win it with brawn.
I don't know what the competition's like. I've never been to Westerns. I think we have a strong team and we can go far. We can beat our personal average, but other than that, I'm not sure what to expect.
Some of these people they're going to be rowing against could very well be in the next Olympics for Team Canada. So I'm hoping that it bites them enough and they see where they can go, where they can get to, so that next year they're at the next level.
And that next level becomes a lot easier to achieve when a mutual admiration exists between a hardworking team and an equally hardworking coach.
Lakeland, you got a course. All boats sit up. Ready. Row.
He can be hard on us, which is good because you need that in a team. But you also know that he cares and he's always fun to joke with, and he always has these crazy stories that he tells about his other rowers and his life and his family and stuff, so he's a really personable guy.
He's a really good coach. He's strict enough to motivate us, but not strict enough for us to lose that encouragement.
It's so cool to see them, 6 weeks later, 5 weeks later, 8 weeks later. It's even the way they handle the boat, the confidence they feel getting the equipment and getting things ready. And that's where you get quite a bit of satisfaction. That's where you feel, wow, my work here is done. We'll be ready for the next level next year.
Lance Phillips, Newcap Sports, Vermilion.